And we are live and alive. Awesome. Chantel, thank you so much for having us.
Thank
Appreciate
you
you
so
being on.
much.
Of
Yes,
course.
I'm so
Tell
glad
me
to be here.
tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me about your background. Why should clients come and look you up? How can we find more clients for you?
Yeah, so I wrote a book called Delegate Everything But Sex. A lot of my friends, like, they are blown away, like, when they come to the house of how much stuff I delegate.
Yeah,
And they used to say to me all the time, they're like, "Oh my God, Chantel, you delegate everything." And they're like, I mean, you delegate everything. And I'm like, yeah, I delegate everything, but I don't delegate sex. And then, or my husband would chime in and say that, you know? So then
sure.
I was like, you know what? And everyone was like, you need to write a book about that because this is unbelievable how much stuff that you delegate and how you do it and stuff like that. So I wrote that book. And
That's
then
so
I wrote
funny.
another book called Grow, Scale, and Exit: How to Sell Your Business for Millions, because I was finding out that most founders think that they're building an asset, and actually, what they're doing is actually building a job. And so I wanted to help teach people how to build a business that, number one, they didn't grow to hate. I actually personally built a business that I absolutely started to hate. And I ended up working so much and I was so stressed out. And I was like, you know what? I ended up getting an autoimmune condition. I got psoriatic arthritis. And there were days where, like, my joints just hurt so bad.
Oh,
And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I've got to start doing some different things. And so I kind of just wrote all the lessons that I've learned about how to build a business. I love to teach people how to grow their business, how to scale their business, and then how to exit it. So between me and my husband, we have 16 businesses. We've exited four of them.
wow.
And so, yeah, it's been fun teaching people. We are one of the only people who, less than 5% of all people in the world have ever grown a franchise to over 100 locations. So we've done that. We've grown businesses to, over 20 states. I mean, just different things that we've done. And there's just certain things that you can do, and it's just the same thing. It doesn't matter what business it is. You can just do it over and over again and kind of have good results.
That's amazing. And what type of franchise did you own that scaled to that level?
It was in real estate, the real estate space.
Okay, what'd you do in real estate?
So we did residential real estate. Now
Okay,
I'm doing business brokering. So we basically now are doing helping businesses sell their business, and
sure.
more baby boomers are going to be, like, if anyone's ever thinking about getting into this space, literally, I'm not joking you, today I'm listing 3 businesses for sale. Like,
Wow.
my phone is blowing up, like,
Wow.
literally blowing up. And it's because more people are selling their business than ever before.
And
It's
what do you
crazy.
primarily do? You primarily help on the sales side, on the acquisition side, some of both?
Mostly the listing side of things, but it's been really, really crazy. Like, I mean, we're listing all kinds of different things that are all over the map. Like, I can't even tell you, um, like, one of my staff, because we've been selling a lot of, like, wildlife and pest control businesses, and they're like, "Why is everyone who's in pest control calling you?" I'm like, "I don't know, because I don't like bugs, I don't like rodents, I don't like anything to do with that business." But I'm like the pest control expert, and I'm getting ready. I mean, just I'm listing a funeral home, a auto mechanic place, an auto body shop, an auto sales place. So just
Man,
HVAC. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever
anyone who
business
wants to
there
get out
is.
of their business instead of just lighting it on fire and getting rid of it, you're saying, "Hey, come to me and I will help you sell it."
Yes.
Okay. Is
Yes.
there an industry that you prefer to work in?
I love service-based businesses. I feel like that's the niche that I understand the best.
Mhm.
I have a few product-based businesses, but mostly I love working with the service-based businesses.
So, do you help at all? I'm just curious. Do you help consult on the acquisition side?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I
Uh,
really
we should
do. And
we
I
should book
I
another call on that after.
yes. Absolutely. And
Um,
the thing that I actually also do that I really enjoy doing is helping businesses, just helping them scale, like coming up with a subscription model, because anyone, I've been able to help every single business, even when people are like, no way could I come up with a subscription model. And what I mean by subscription model is, so for example, a car wash, we worked with a car wash and they were almost going out of business. And we helped them come up with a plan where they were charging $10 per car wash. We changed it to a $23
a
plan
month.
of a subscription model. And now they are crushing it. And that business is going to be able to be sold for so much more.
It has such a
But
higher eval.
yes, so much of a higher eval. And the other thing I'm really passionate about doing is, have you ever heard of the book Built to Last by Jim Collins?
I've heard of the book. I haven't read it though. I
Yeah.
should have read it.
Yeah, so he has this concept of like creating vision and values, and you need this 30 to 40 year big hairy audacious goal, and you have to have this mission that's 30-year BHAG and all this stuff. And I think that the piece that people really miss is that there are many cases. Like my mom used to say to me all the time, this is a phrase she always used. It's called know thyself. And so like she'd be like, Chantel, know thyself. You're not going to like that. And I think that we need to allow entrepreneurs to be able to say, you know what, maybe I'm a guy that's better at starting a business, getting it to 1 million, and then getting another guy to take it to 2 million, to 5 million. And another guy is then going to take it
Yes.
and move it to 10 million, because we're all different and we
Yes.
all have different skills, and that's okay. But to have Jim Collins say, look, it's built to last. You've got to do this, and then you're miserable for 30 to 40 years and you're pushing through. And I have so many entrepreneurs and they're like, I'm miserable. I'm literally hate what I'm doing. And I'm like, then get out of it. Let me sell it. Go do something you love. Don't just stick here and do something that's like so boring.
Yes, yes. One of our mentors is a guy by the name of Dustin Runyon. You might be familiar with Dustin coming from real estate. Do you know Dustin with Apex Real Estate?
Uh-uh.
He's amazing. He's big in the EXP world. Our
Okay.
founder is a kid by the name of Justin Nelson. When I say kid, he's 28 years old, right? And some of the best advice I ever heard Dustin Runyon give Justin is, you're a kid. He started this business at 23. The business is going to mature faster than you are. Right.
Mm.
So everyone else that he's hired in the C-suite, right? I'm 36. The CMO is about my age, right? He's hired, his parents to come into the C-suite, et cetera. I think that's really smart because of exactly what you're saying. It's like, hey, get out of the stuff that you're not going to want to do, right? And let us go and scale the business, which I thought was, I think that's one of the wisest moves I've seen him make. And he's, again, super young kid, but super bright.
Yeah, there's a story of this guy. His name is Joey Redner. He built a place called Cigar City Brewing.
Okay.
And I think it was out of Tampa, Florida. And when I heard the podcast about him, he said, first I borrowed money from my dad and then I borrowed money from the SBA. And then the third time that I had to expand the brewing company again, he said, I felt like I had just won 5 rounds in a row at the blackjack table. And then the dealer was asking me to put all my chips in again. And he said, you know what? I was asked to do a personal guarantee and we had to grow. And he literally said, guess what? I'm done. I built a great business. I don't need another 10 million barrels of brewing capacity. And he sold the company and it was acquired by a private equity backed deal.
So cool.
And he was like, I put some money in my pocket, no harm, no foul. I don't want to do that anymore. I'm done with that. And I
Yeah.
think we need to be able to say to entrepreneurs, it's okay. You got it to here. You did a great job. You don't have to have it built to last. Let someone else take it, run it, and scale it, because a lot of people, they're great at getting it to 1 million. Somehow they're not good at scaling and operating it to the next level. And entrepreneurs beat themselves up because they think, oh, I've got to go through all these phases. But the
It's like
truth
you
is,
don't.
every entrepreneur is different.
So start with the end in mind, right? I'm curious when you are working with somebody. Let's say they are trying to sell their business, right? How do you help them? Set maybe they hadn't considered selling their business. They just came across you and they're like, "Oh, yeah, this sounds like good idea," right? How do you help them sort of figure out what fair market value is for their business? How do you help create the eval?
Well, first thing we do is we have two different we have a free evaluation that we do for people. And we say, "Look, here's where your business is here right now." And then we really talk to them about timing, right? Because some of them we go first before we sell it, let me help you. You've got some things going on that I can easily 2x and 3x like the car wash, right? I was like,
Yes,
"Before we sell it, I don't want to sell it yet. Let me
let's
first put
add
in
subscription.
some subscription models and some different things." So first we coach them for a little bit and give them advice and say, here's where we are. Some businesses, like I had one guy and it was a multi-million dollar company. And when I asked, what would, after we sold it, and he's like, I said, what would you do if you had to do it all over again? And he said, you know what? I would have sold way sooner. And
Wow.
I tell people all the time, like, they call me way too late. I can't even stress that enough. I'm like, listen, call me now. You might not be ready to sell for 2 years from now, 3 years from now. First, let me get you in some different things where we can maybe add some subscription models to make the value go up. Let me create some systems that will help you. And then we can go ahead and take it to the next level. And just like you know, we were talking about with the virtual assistants, I'm telling you, one of the biggest things that I've helped people do is get virtual assistants right now. And it's been a game changer because they've been paying, you know, $30, $40 an hour for some things that can be done with a virtual assistant for such a smaller
Four,
rate.
five, $6 an
And
hour. Yeah.
yes. And so that's been really driving their profit margin up. And, you know, another piece that we have to help people with is because, you know, people are always trying to save money on taxes. I just met with two people this week and he's like, yeah, I pretty much make about $400,000 a year, but my P&L only shows 40,000 because I write off this and I write off that. And that's a personal thing that, you know, I kind of write this off. And it's like, yeah, they're trying to save money on
On
taxes,
taxes, but they're
but
killing
it's
their
not.
eval.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Super interesting. I'm curious when you're structuring the business, when you're advising, right? When you go, I'll tell you why I'm asking this, but when you go from one-off fees to subscription, how does that change the eval
Oh
from your
my
side?
gosh. It's night and day. So I'll give you just a couple of examples. Normally in business, just to give you like a real basic, people are like, how do I value what my business is worth? So I'll give you an example. I just met with a massage place this week. And so what we do is we say, okay, let's say she's making $100,000 a year in profit for the last 3 years. We would multiply that by three, and then that'd be 300,000. And then whatever, all the massage tables and the hot stones and the facial machines and, you know, all the different stuff that she has, we would add that in. But
Got it.
if she has a model where she's got this many people on a subscription where they are on a yearly thing where every single month they pay $99 and they are going to get, you know, one full massage every single month or whatever that is, that can go anywhere depending, right, what kind of business you're in. But that could go to 6 times, that could go 10 times. It all depends on what kind of buyer you are looking for. And I'll give you a perfect example. Blinds.com. Okay. Blinds.com actually got bought out by Home Depot. And it's a strategic buyer. Okay. And the way that works is Home Depot said, look at blinds.com. They're number one in the blinds industry. And we literally are making it where they're selling blinds, which is a very complicated process. Like you got to make sure you measure it properly.
Yeah.
And they're like, they've got some secret sauce on how to sell things online. We're now going to buy that business, and that business got sold for, you know, 10 to 15 times what it was worth
Wow.
because it was a strategic buyer.
Sure.
Because Home Depot said, we're selling everything we have in store. We can't keep doing this. We need to start selling online. So they bought them for a strategic reason. And that's what I teach people how to do.
That's so
Another
cool.
piece of the puzzle. And it's really amazing of what we've done in being able to get these businesses valued for so much higher is so amazing. And the other piece that I think we really are good at, I can meet with someone and kind of figuring them out really quick. Like I have a lot of people who are like, "Oh my gosh, I feel like we became best friends like overnight." But it's because I have a really high self-awareness game,
Yep.
meaning I understand what I like and what my passions are, and I'm able to do that for other people. Like I can kind of meet them and go, I can quickly figure out, you know what? You really like this or you really like that. And you don't like running this part of the company. You don't like this, right? And so that's a big piece of it is figuring out the know thyself of like, what am I good at? What am I not good at? Hiring for the things that you're not, delegating everything but sex, right?
Yep.
And getting people to the next level.
That's amazing. So you will help the consumer, your consumer, not just with finding the eval. You'll also help them identify the strategic buyer on the other side.
Yes.
What's the difference
Mhm.
between a strategic buyer and someone who's just trying to buy a business?
Yeah, so the the Home Depot story with the blinds, that's a strategic buyer because the reason they bought blinds.com, they didn't yeah, they sell blinds and they blinds.com was number 1 in the blinds industry, but that's not why they bought them. They bought them because they wanted to learn how to sell everything
Everywhere.
online, right?
Understood.
So
Understood.
strategically they said that's why we want to buy, not because they wanted to be number 1 in blinds,
We want
because
this
they
acquisition
had a
strategy.
side motive, which is to learn how to do all of that. Someone who, if you have an HVAC company and there's another HVAC company and he just says, okay, I want to buy it, then that's just an individual buyer that's buying it. And then second step is the private equity, right? Where
Yep.
you have some private equity come in and buy it. The problem with private equity looks like this. They almost always will only invest 60% of the company and they want you to stay on. Well, if you're already like, I'm done with this business, probably why you want to sell it, then you're like staying on. And now you've got a boss that's kind of down your throat, which then you hate it even more. So it's kind of like you got to really think through that. And that's what we're really good at is kind of saying, okay, let's really talk this out. Who is our best buyer for this? Do we want to sell it here? How do we add subscription models? And I actually talk about all those things. I mean, in my book, I literally break down so many different examples of, automatic revenue that comes in every single month because it's kind of like chopping. If you think about if you don't have subscription models, every single day you're back at zero, chopping down the tree again. And instead of having like almost like an automatic thing that just is like a robot that just goes up, let me go through and knock down all those trees. It's a totally different ball game and it's a different ball of wax for what you can do as far as the revenue goes.
You'll love this. When we started the business, we started as a high ticket business, right? And high ticket online business. My background in building and scaling sales orgs, specifically high ticket sales orgs, right? And we were selling virtual assistants for $4,000 a pop when we did that, right? I came into the business when we were pre-revenue. I was hired in November of 22 in-house. We were doing about $3 million a year in high ticket sales. And then we transitioned because of exactly what you're bringing up and said, let's go to a subscription based model. The front probably year, it was so frustrating because we felt like we were running in place on that subscription based model. But here we are, November 22, almost 4 years later, right? And today we're doing 13 million in ARR. And the business is completely different. Like we can go and risk $100,000 in a month on marketing spend because if we don't recoup our money tomorrow, it's okay, right? We've got the recurring revenue to support us versus when we had the high ticket model, we couldn't take those swings. One wrong swing could put us under, you know?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, and one of the other things that I'll mention is that I speak a lot at business conferences. And one of the things I do is the very first thing I do when I get on stage, I say, all right, how many of you are actually involved day to day in selling and marketing your products? And then everyone's like, almost like it's like a badge of honor. Every single hand like goes up, right?
Yeah,
And then I literally look at them and I say, you have great skills and you have the right skills, but you're selling the wrong product. Your job
you
as an
should be selling the.
entrepreneur,
Yeah,
you shouldn't be selling your software or your services. Your job is to eventually sell your company. So even though you're the best rainmaker in the business, you're
so
the
good.
best salesperson, you have to be the one. You're playing an amateur game right now because you're selling to customers. And if you want to play a professional game, your professional game is to ultimately sell the business itself. So by you saying, yes, I'm ahead of sales. Yes, I'm ahead of marketing. Yes, I'm ahead of this. That's not good. Like you should be putting your hand down like crap. I'm not doing this right because my job is to again delegate
Delegate.
everything but sex. I
Yes.
shouldn't be doing any of this.
Yes, gosh, I love it. Do a quick snip on the book, right? Show both books. Where can we get? I know for my clients and my customer, or my clients and my C-suite, I would love to buy a copy of the book.
Oh, well, thank you. That's so
Of
sweet.
course.
Yeah, so one of the things I talk about is in this is to be able to make sure you're hiring either a Tesla or a bike. And the example I give in it is that the reason why people don't like to delegate things is because they hired a bike instead of a Tesla. And so if you think about it, if you went to like if I wanted to drive to Whole Foods right now, if I used to have a Tesla, I just sold it. But I could literally just be like Whole Foods and it would, if I let it, it would drive itself. You know what I mean? I don't have to
Yeah.
tell it anything. I don't have to do anything. And so the bottom line is that if you have a bike, think about how much longer it's going to take and schlepping it there and how am I going to get the groceries? And so what people do wrong is the very first thing is they don't have the right person to delegate it to. And then they get so frustrated that they go, screw it, I'm just going to delegate it myself. And that's why we're so passionate about getting people VAs so that we've helped find the right person, the best person for that job. And then you're delegating it out and you're putting someone in the right seat.
Yes. I love. I'm sure you have read it, but let me throw it out there. Have you read Dan Martell's "Buy Back Your Time"?
Yeah, I have. I read it probably about someone had sent it to me like a couple months after I wrote my book, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, everyone says I'm the girl version of Dan
That's what I was just
Martell."
going to say. That's what brought it up. That's literally what brought
Yeah,
it up.
they're like, Chantel, you're literally the girl version of Dan Martell. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even know of him at all before
Yeah.
that. It was probably about maybe 6 months after I wrote the book. I then got to know and started listening to his stuff. And I love it. Like I'm telling you, me and him, we talk about becoming best friends. You know what I mean? Like me
Yeah.
and my husband and him and his wife would probably get along really, really
I'm
great because
sure.
I agree with everything he says.
We have to preach to our clients all the time. A lot of times clients come to us, obviously they want to hire a virtual assistant, right? But we always preach to them during the onboarding process. Dan Martell's uh, uh, hiring loop, I think he calls it off the top of my head. Hiring
Hmm.
loop, right? It's like the first thing that we got to do is we got to audit the process that you're trying to hire for, right? If you just say, I want to hire a virtual assistant, awesome. A virtual assistant can do anything, right? It could be social media manager, it could be a video editor, it could be an inside salesperson, right? What task are you currently doing that you feel pain in, that you want to organize and build out into an SOP and then offload it, right? Once we know what we're trying to hire for, then we can go and staff the right role. You know what I mean?
Right. And I will tell you one thing that I wrote in the book, and I feel like I should say this because I really wish I would have added this in the book, is that because I delegate so much, I don't even know anyone who delegate. I bet Dan doesn't even delegate. Like, obviously, I delegate blow drying my hair.
How do you?
So he doesn't do that.
You gotta tell the story. I used to. I used to.
So like, but the biggest thing is that now one of the things that I say in the book is like kind of start with, some of the admin tasks that are cheap and kind of can get off
So
your
good.
plate. The problem is that I'm kind of now into the mode of like, you almost need to delegate some of the sales stuff and some of the stuff that's going to drive in income, because as I've been coaching people, I realized what they were doing is they were hiring so much admin and so much operations, and because those are easy to fill, right? Those are
Sure.
easy places to fill and for pretty cheap. But then they were spending so much of their time going ahead and managing all of those people and those lower level people. And then sales were dipping out of the door. So that's one thing I want people to really understand is that, yes, it's good to have an admin and all the things that you hate, but you also need to make sure that it actually, you also want to start delegating some of the higher level stuff as well, because the number one thing that I'm looking at most of the businesses is they're not spending enough of their money on sales and marketing. And I have
Yes.
this line, I say, welcome to Moe's, because if you've ever been to Moe's, you know how you walk in there and they're
Of
like,
course.
welcome to Moe's. And I say, MOE, marketing over everything. And
Yeah.
that's a piece that every company,
So
that's
good.
my passion. But I'm seeing so many companies, they're just into operations, and guess what? Operations does not bring income and revenue in the door. And you've got to spend that money into the marketing of your business so that you can grow.
I talk about this with clients all the time, right? When they're trying to build out sales staff, you don't scale an organized business. We are going to sell past where your operations will allow you to currently be, and we'll fix it. We'll fix it. Don't worry about it. But but for now, just be comfortable investing more in marketing and sales so that we can scale the business. We'll fix the ops side.
Yeah. And I think that, freedom is what really is kind of what laces all entrepreneurs together. And
Yes.
so whether you're trying to scale a SaaS company or a HVAC company, whatever it is, you have a desire for freedom. You have financial freedom, but it's more than that. Freedom to do what you want with who you want and where you want. That's the ultimate aspiration. And so a lot of times it's kind of a mirage because we want freedom, but we get into running a company and it starts growing to 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 employees. Then the entrepreneur feels kind of beholden to or trapped by the company. And then it's like you started the business for freedom, but do you really feel free right now?
Yep.
And so that's the other thing. I have something called Finch Freedom, and I kind of talk to people about really balancing things out, because the true sense of freedom you get when you're able to monetize what you've created and actually be able to sell it. And then you can start another business that you truly enjoy, and you can kind of fix all the things that you didn't do right in the first business. I'm working with an entrepreneur right now. He's like about to close. We're going to close on the business this
All
week.
right.
And I said, "What are you so excited about?" And, he had all these employees that he had like for over 15 years and just never had the heart to like fire them because they'd been with him for so long. And that's another thing. Oh my gosh, let's talk about that for just a second. I'm just like, I don't know what you're like, Chantel had too much coffee today,
No,
but I get
where have we
so
been?
fired up
Gosh,
about this stuff.
I can't believe we haven't connected before, Chantel. This is great. Keep going.
I know. But basically, they have this kind of idea where they're like, oh, well, she's been with me for 15 years. Susie's been with me for 20 years. And guess what? We don't care how long they've been with you. What we care about is, as an entrepreneur, if you really want to take things to the next level, what you do is you care about productivity. And I have something that's called the CEO Scale Scoreboard. And it's a very great scoreboard. If you go on any of my Instagram and you just type in the word CEO in like my DMs or anything that I have, you'll be able to get this scoreboard for completely free. But what it does is it makes it so that you are not making decisions based on how long someone's been there. You are building
So
things
good.
based on how they're performing. And it literally has like green, yellow, red. Like, here's what all the KPIs are. Here's what you're supposed to do. Here's everything that you need to achieve this week. And then we're not doing it based on, do I like you or not? Do I like your hair or how long you've been with me? It's very systematic, and it's like, here's what the goal is. Here's what winning looks like. And did I achieve it? Yes or no?
So good. This is amazing. I'm just curious, do you install EOS at all?
I have my own version of it.
Got
I
it.
I like EOS and I think it's good, but I kind of created my own version of it that I think is a lot better.
Sure. Awesome. Well, Chantel, it's about 3:45. If somebody's listening to this podcast and they want to come find you, where's the best place that they could find you?
Yeah, so canzel.com is my main website that I help people buy, sell businesses. And then I have delegate everything but sex.com is for that book. And then grow, scale, and exit.com is for that book. But I love telling people like the grow, scale, and exit, because that to me is the ultimate, right? It's like, how do I not just grow this business, not just scale this business, but also constantly be thinking in the back of my mind, how do I exit it? Because that's where it really is kind of the next level.
Awesome. And do you have anything that you would like to offer the audience? Is there like a lead magnet or anything
Yeah,
that
I
you
think the best thing that they would like is if they go to my website, they actually can get a free chapter. If they go to canzel.com, just click on free chapter. And there's also a really good video that I did, is all the tips on how to sell your business for millions. It's on YouTube and it's on my website as well. They can watch that for free.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking some time with me. It was awesome to
Yeah,
connect, and my team will get this sent out to you. Cool.
sounds great. Thank you so much.
Of course. Let me end this. Here we go. Hold on.